Welcome everybody. This is Trailblazer Community Group for the Portland Admin User Group, Salesforce User Group. Welcome. Today we're going to be talking about my favorite admin tools, sharing some of our favorites. Hopefully it's something that will be helpful to somebody. Somebody will get help from somebody else, ideally. So that's what we're going for. So let me start the presentation. Just want to introduce ourselves. My name is Michael. I'm co-leader here at the Portland User Group, and Allison is here as well. Allison, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Allison, co-leading the user group with Michael. Um, I work for a company called CS2 Marketing. We're a agency that helps folks with their RevOps kind of tech stack. So welcome.
All right. So, upcoming the next few weeks. Next week is our first in-person meeting. It's a joint user group meeting with many of the Portland user groups. So, Marketing Cloud, our marketing, Pardot, nonprofit. I believe the developer group will be there as well, and others. So if you haven't already RSVP'd, it's next week at 5:30 at the Lucky Lab in Southeast Portland. Come one, come all. If you're thinking about joining, if you're thinking you might 60/40 might make it, go ahead and RSVP. It's okay. We just need to have enough RSVPs to buy, get the properly size our event from a budget perspective. So if you're considering it, please do check in. And then the week after that, we'll have back to our office hour. I don't have a topic yet, so if anybody has any suggestions or ideas, please feel free to put it in the chat or reach out to me afterwards, or reach out to us, Allison and I, afterwards. Excuse me, or reach out to us next week if you want to see us in person, and we can kind of talk about uh, a topic. I can either do the research or we can find somebody who can speak on it. Um, yeah, so thank you. All right. And then Forcelandia is in July. So save, mark your calendar, Forcelandia, July 10, 11. Tickets are not yet available, but they want us to tell you to save the date. So I'm reminding you to put it in your calendar. So we're going to talk about some of our favorite tools, and got a couple to share from that are installed in my org that we use. I have in my browser. I keep them by my side, and they help me get through my days. Um, and Allison obviously has the same tools, not the same tools, but the same use cases. But I've got a couple here. So I'll get started. And what we'll do is I'll run through the ones I've got here on these slides, and then I'll open up the floor. We'll open up the floor to all of you, and you can share what you love to use. And if you wouldn't mind putting a link or the name of the tool in the chat, what I'll do is I'll gather those up. I'll add slides to the end of this deck, and then when I share the slide deck after the presentation or after this office hour, all of those links and all of those tools will be there for everybody else to enjoy. So I really appreciate that if you can do that. And of course, don't be afraid to share, and don't be afraid to ask questions, speak up, whatever it is you want to do. So let's begin. Okay, so I have two installed packages that I wanted to highlight that are pretty cool. One is free, one is a trial, and then you'll get moved into paid if you wanted to. But the first one is this hierarchy view, and it just allows you to do what it says there: is build a hierarchy view from a child, from a lookup field on an object. So obviously, I think everybody is familiar with the account hierarchy view, which is a default Salesforce functionality, but this allows you, if you have a parent lookup field on an object of yours, it allows you to create a hierarchy view of all the parent of those kind of parents and all those views. So at Nork, one of the things we have is we have a list of deals, and then we have children of those deals, and then sometimes those deals are also the children of other overarching. They're called IDIQs, but they're like request to bid, basically government work, request to bid. You have to win the request to bid, and then you get the chance to bid, and then you may win the deal. So there's this kind of weird hierarchy that gets put in place. So we were having trouble displaying that in the user interface for the users because it's not an account specific kind of a hierarchy. So this tool allows us to just show If I go to this deal, I can look at the hierarchy view and see the children, the children's children, and what is it, siblings, parents, grandparents, all that kind of stuff. It just all shows there. And then the other nice thing about it is you can add columns to your to the display. So it's not just the account name with a hierarchy, but you could also have this account has a, let's say there's a dollar value field, this dollar value, and this account is this dollar value, and this account is this dollar value, and this deal is in this stage, this deal's in that stage, this deal's in this stage, whatever you got. So you can add different fields to the columns, as well as kind of pick what field is the hierarchy lookup parent or the lookup aggregator. So that one's really cool. We use that a lot. And then the other one we use, I've used it a couple orgs now, is Config Workbook. The nice thing about Config Workbook is you can throw it into I recommend putting it into a full dev sandbox and running through the tests and downloading things, downloading some of the reports and all that kind of stuff. This one is really a good way to export and look at your metadata in Salesforce. There's a lot of tools like this, but yes, this is the one I like, or the one I've learned to love. And then you can refresh your sandbox and install it again without having to pay. Like it doesn't know. But when you do pay, it's really affordable. I think it's like $1,000 or $3,000 a year, and it just does what it needs to do. And that is export metadata, do metadata lookups, permission set comparisons, permission set to profile comparisons, user to user comparisons, things like that. And it allows you to export those comparisons in an Excel spreadsheet or a CSV and do whatever you need to do with it offline. So it's a really cool tool that you've used a couple places now. And then I have a couple of Chrome extensions that I use on a regular basis. One is not related to Salesforce at all. It's called Keep Awake, and it does what it says. It does not. You turn it on, and it does something in the background that doesn't allow the computer to go to sleep. So I keep it on here and there when I'm doing sandbox refreshes or a large data deployment. I just want to keep the computer active. I don't want it to go to sleep or go to screensaver mode. So I use that every now and then. And then another tool that there's 100 of is the one I like. It's called Salesforce Colored Favicons, because I'm in 3 different sandbox, 2 production environments, and then whatever else I might be happy to be in. So having a different colored favicon for the different orgs is helpful, because at least I know when I look up there that I'm in a different sandbox, or I'm in the right, not the right sandbox. Like they're not colored like orange is production and blue is this, but you can do that. I just don't happen to have that set up. But you can set those up to do that, and then you'll know like production is orange. So if I'm making changes in the blue tab, I'm not making changes. That's great. I want to be making changes in the sandbox and not in my production environment. And then Allison, did you want to share a little bit about Inspector and HappySeat?
Sure. Yeah. I know probably a good portion of y'all are familiar with the Salesforce Inspector. I think they recently came out with the reloaded version, which allows you to do a ton more. I can actually share my screen and kind of go over a couple of things that I like about it. It's a pretty cool tool that there's a lot of use cases that even I haven't really explored entirely, but let's see. So basically, it's a Chrome extension. Once you install it, you get this little tab here on the left. Some kind of cool things is like if you go to this org tab, you can get your like org ID and instance ID all right here without having to like navigate to setup. You can also click on the org ID and it'll take you to the company information page. So that's really cool. Another thing is it has all sorts of shortcuts. So especially if you're in your sandbox and you want to create a flow real quick, you can just say create new flow and just easily get to creating a new flow. There's a bunch of other shortcuts that they have. this one's pretty popular too. Like if I want to log in as a particular user, let's say, I can go to the user and just log in as right from here. Or oftentimes if you need to like enable debug logs for a particular user, you can just enable that right here. But the one thing that I really like about the reloaded version, you can do data imports and data exports pretty easily with the tool, but with the reloaded version, you can now even import custom metadata. So if I go to data import and I can actually import metadata or upsert metadata, um, which is really great because it's kind of tedious to like mass import custom metadata records. You can do it with VS Code and stuff like that, but it's kind of tedious. Um, the other thing that I really like about it is if I'm on, let's say I'm on like a lead record and I want to know like what the API names of all these fields are, you can just say show API names and they show up right next to the fields, and then you can click on it and copy it. And then you can hide it. The other thing is you can show all the data for a record. So oftentimes there's fields like not on the layout, and maybe I actually want to edit one of those fields, but I don't want to have to like, you know, use the data loader or add the field to the layout and then edit it. I can just edit it right here. So you can just edit and then edit any field, search for a field that you want to edit and change it. So that's really cool. And then, yeah, the data export as well. Data import, data export. It is really helpful for writing SQL queries because I can start typing and it'll present me with all the fields that that are already there. So I don't have to know all the API names off the top of my head to easily export. And then, like I said, you can do data import really easily as well. You can just copy and paste an Excel file and then import the records, and it's just way easier than data loader for certain things like that. So, I'm a huge fan of it. It's especially helpful as a consultant because I'm in a bunch of different orgs, and I don't want to have to like fool around with people's page layouts and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm sure a lot of you have a lot of other use cases that you've used for it. My other favorite tool is Happy Soup. HappySoup.io. You just log in either to your production or sandbox environment, and basically what I use it for is it's like a more robust where is this used. So for example, here I'm looking at where is this status field on the contact used, and it tells me it's used in this formula field, it's used in all these flows. It unlike where is this used, it'll tell me which of the versions are the active versions, which layouts it's on. Super helpful. The other nice thing that's a little bit different than where is this used is it actually works on standard fields as well. So like I'm always wondering where is the lead status used, and it'll tell me that as well. So there's a bunch of other use cases, I'm sure. I don't know if anyone else on the call has used Happy Soup for things, but I just find it really helpful. Especially again being in a bunch of different orgs, and I need to know what I might be breaking if I change a field and stuff like that. So
That's a very, yeah. I've never used that, either one of those. So, and it was surprising. Alice and I were talking about it. She's like, "It's going to change your life. It's going to have all these things are going to be so much better for you." So yes, I'm going to start definitely get those. One's a plugin, and the other one is I guess call it an app to log into. happysuite.io, you log in and credential your way in, and then what's it called?
Salesforce
one.
Inspector Reloaded.
Inspector is a Chrome plugin.
Yeah.
Let me get back to this before.
With the Chrome plugins,
yep.
Like I work on a client as like a federal office. Security issues there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if your browser is secure and you're doing all those things, you are probably going to be okay. I don't want to overspeak, but you're probably going to be okay. If the environment that you're working from is secure, then you will probably be okay. A lot of I know our team, our IT team, I do have to get Chrome plugins approved. So it goes through a vetting process. So I have to go and get them approved before they will allow them to be installed, but then they just show up. Like one day they'll just, I put in these requests, and like 2 weeks later they pop up in my toolbar. So they do that. My team vets them, but I'm sure. Yeah. And also they go through vetting somewhat. I don't want to say Chrome is, the Google Play Store is perfect, but there are some vetting there.
There is something. Okay. Yeah, I would just Allison, when you were talking about working as a consultant and going into a lot of different orgs, so having to go, I can imagine having to go through all the
there are some clients where I can't use it on. Like I have a client that I actually have to use a separate browser called Island where they can monitor everything we're doing, and it obviously doesn't work on Island. But I do have another client where I have to VPN in, and I have like a virtual desktop, and I've installed it on my virtual desktop. But yeah.
Cool.
I find it's easier to use Chrome extensions than it is to like download third-party apps or log into a authenticator somewhere.
Yeah, it's interesting. I even have like a client that doesn't give us the permission to export reports, but I guess little do they know that I can export the data from the Salesforce Inspector.
Yep.
So
well, now they know.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's one more tool that I've got for everybody that I use it a lot and actually end up using it. This is more recently. This is the Copilot Designer. So that's through Bing. It's similar to DALL-E, or it is DALL-E. But all of our updated and coming soon graphics, as well as the image of me at a tiki bar. So I mean, you can see the resemblance obviously on the right there. That's what I look like at tiki bar on my tattoo in my leg. Like this has been from a design standpoint. You can ask it to do code as well, and Excel. It does Excel really well. Allison could talk to you about how well Excel formula builders Copilot is. But this Copilot Designer, I'm really enjoying a little too much. So if you need a slide or a graphic for something, I highly recommend checking out the designer and just going in there, start giving it a few prompts, and then make some adjustments to it. And don't spend too much time because you will easily get sucked down a rabbit hole. But Copilot Designer is a little new tool that I've started using for work and outside of the office. But okay, so now everybody else, we'd like to ask you to share. And again, if you want to put something in the chat, I can take that information and put it into slides afterwards to share afterwards. But we're gonna open up the floor to everybody, and we're still gonna record it, so that'll be there. But love to see what everybody else has in their org. So let's take a look. Anybody got anything they want to go with? Or if you have any questions about some of the stuff we just looked at.
So has anyone used Why Salesforce besides me?
I have.
Are you familiar with it? I mean, anyone else? All right, it's a extension, Chrome extension. It's pretty lightweight. Doesn't do much, but oh man, it's one of those little things that just makes life better. Let me share my screen. All right. So, like I said, it's just a little plugin or extension. But what it does is when you go into setup, come on. Oh, wait a minute. In Lightning. Sorry. Only works in Lightning.
Peter was getting all the nostalgia feels on here.
Right. So normally when you go in setup and you typically you spend a lot of time in specific areas, you can set up default tabs to take you right there. So like I spend a lot of time in flows. I have a flow tab. Instead of going to object manager, flow, go there, I just tell it, hey, I flow, or opportunity validation roles. Right. I spend a lot of time there. I can just go right there. I mean, it doesn't do much. All you're doing is saving the time of object manager going down or home and doing a search and clicking. But since I go here, I go to the same place all the time, right? And it just saves me that little bit of mental, I guess, search. And it's super easy to set up. You go into the extension and it's, let's see, I thought I had it shortcutted, but basically you give it the tab a name, right? Go to where you want, copy everything after the force.com, and then paste it there, right? So if I wanted to add, let's say I wanted to go to the opportunity record types. Like I spend a lot of time there. Right, I can go after force.com. I just copy that section, go over to my, I lost it again. I don't have it shortcutted, sorry. Or pinned. I just add the tab, call it like, what am I that? Opportunity, oh, I can't spell. Paste it in. And that's it. And then just look, there's my record type shortcuts. I can go from like, wherever,
Nice.
right? It's just that easy. It doesn't do a lot,
Log.
but for the places you go all the time, it just saves you that little bit of aggravation.
Yeah, and it's org independent, right? So those tabs will
Yes.
appear on all of your orgs
Yep,
at the same time.
it's a browser extension. As long as you're using this browser, it works.
Oh, nice.
So you set up once and it works everywhere. And by the way, I also use just the inspector. I love it. I didn't know Reloaded had come out. And the colored favicons, because between the sandboxes and different orgs,
Very nice.
helps keep things straight.
All right. Thank you. Okay, there was one that somebody had sent me, elements.cloud, and I wanted to ask, we were talking a little bit before we started, that some people use it and they wanted to share about it. I think Nick and others, would you mind giving us a quick overview of elements.cloud?
Sure, I can for sure. Let me pull that up. Also real quick on Inspector, I love it as well. Two of my favorite use cases as well is managing field level security, because you can export field level security, quickly see it, and then also upsert directly from there, like manipulate it in Excel and then upload it back. And that's been great. And my other favorite thing is Allison showed that her login for using Inspector. I like using Salesforce Quick Login as that allows you like log in as a user, and it also keeps you on whatever page you're at. And then one of my favorite things there is that you can log in as integration users, and once you log in as an integration user, you lose access to the UI, but you take it to like a really limited Salesforce Classic setup, and you can still use Salesforce Inspector from there. So then you can test and debug like what is this user what does this user has access to. So you can make sure that the queries you're going to do through this integration actually work for both reading and writing. So highly recommend that. But yeah, Elements is awesome. So it's a metadata dictionary that kind of combines a lot of things into one. So one, it's like metadata dictionary, so you can define like what's being used in your org, and then it has other cool things like basically Happy Soup and if anyone's ever used Field Trip, where it shows like how often a field is populated on a record, kind of combines that all into one and makes it a lot of powerful features. So from the Elements UI, it kind of looks like this. You have your list of objects or lightning pages, and then you can go into any of these ones, and let's say you go down to account, and then on the account you can see like you can track statuses. So you can say like what your status is of like overall assessment of this object. So you can kind of prioritize things to be deleted. And then it shows an impact analysis as well. So how often, like which fields are most populated on these records. And then where is it used? Like where is it used in Apex? Where is it used in, what fields does it use? What flows or is it referenced in? Etc. And then, so yeah, just a lot of cool stuff there. You can do a lot of documentation as well. It also, you can do it can do some new analyze user access, so like which users are accessing these and how. And then it'll also have, it does keep a change log, so you can see who changed what when, and that's also really helpful to try and figure out if regression testing came into play. But by far my favorite feature, and it's not as well known as I think it should be, is that they have a Chrome extension as well. So once you have elements.cloud, and there's two options for Elements. There's you can buy it as an org, and then it's a certain amount of your Salesforce spend that how much it costs. And then the other alternative is as consultants. The consulting license is only $500 a year, and that gives you access to unlimited orgs that you want to use it in. And only people who have consulting license can do that, but you could give your clients view access, so they can like view anything in Elements, but they just can't actually write stuff. But yeah, there's a Chrome extension. So if you're on the opportunity, you can open up this right toggle, and it'll give you all of that impact analysis directly from setup. So you can see everything tracked. But again, this is the main part of like which Apex classes are these used in, which flows is it used in, and you can really find out quickly. And then when you hover over the flows, not only does it show you what flows is in, but it'll tell you exactly which elements it's used in. So in this flow here, it's used in this record lookup for get opportunity, and then 2 record updates. So you can save time to find it. Oh, you don't have to like fiddle around with 50 different elements trying to figure out which one's in. It tells you exactly where to go.
That's very nice. So it pinpoints it down to the element.
Yeah.
Instead of just in addition to the flow.
And then that works for like anything really you're on. So let's say you're on a field in here, that same extension will pop up, and it'll specifically tell you where is this populated on specific record types, and then specifically where is it used in flow. And again, it tells you where it's referenced exactly. And so any number of fields you can do this on, quickly figure out what the impact of something is. And then they have other cool features that I won't get into because I haven't used it as much, but they have architecture maps. So you can create, it's basically like a Lucidchart replacement where you can create maps and then have it reference your metadata. And then you can also have maps like layer on top of each other. So you can click into a certain portion and then it'll like bring up a different process mapping if you want to get like drilled down to finer details. You have that option, and then it has some change management stuff too. So like a light Jira, where you can have requirements and stories and feedbacks, and kind of track your metadata along with your stories. And then it also allows some like in-guided help, which I haven't used yet, but like you can have users who have the Chrome extension can like give feedback directly from the Salesforce UI, and then it'll come back into here for the feedback section. So lots of cool stuff. I use it for the impact analysis, which is well worth anything. So,
and again, the pricing that you said is 500 for consultants, but another price for others.
Yeah, for consultants, 500 per license per year. It's a limited amount of orgs. But if you want to do like an org-wide license, like you don't have to pay like per user. It's just across the org. That's going to be dependent on how much you spend on Salesforce each year.
Got it. Okay. So.
And I don't know the exact pricing there, but
yeah, sure. Your mileage will vary, of course.
Yeah. We have one client that pays that spend, and then we have access to it through there, and then we have another client that is that doesn't have it, and I got the consultant license, so I can use it there. And then you can still use if they add your user to their org, you can use your same user to access both orgs, so you don't have to like switch between logins.
Cool. Nice. Thank you. Yeah, not somebody, I know who it is. I didn't remember to write it down, but yeah, they love it as well, and they wanted to share it with us, but she is traveling this weekend and is not able to be here to talk about it. So thank you, Nick, for stepping in and talking about that. All right. Anybody else have anything they'd like to share? Pitch?
I mean, I have more if people.
Oh yeah, we're always.
Anybody's used the colored favicons before? I haven't done it, but I use Salesforce Organizer. I think it's pretty similar, but really nice way to just kind of like quick save everything and keep it color coded so that, we have a dev sandbox, admin, service, all these different sandboxes. It's really just like single quick login for all of those once you've got the data stored in there. And then, I can color my sandboxes different than production, but I have pretty much everything on my work org right now. I don't have any demo stuff, so I don't know if sharing my screen would do much good right now, unfortunately, but I just dropped a link in the chat.
Perfect.
You pretty much from the first image there, if you click the link, when you're looking at the drop down for the extension, you basically just click the green next to whatever org you have saved, and it just opens it up in another tab right there. So pretty nice.
I can share my other ones as well. So other ones I like. EasyCrud is really cool. I tend to use Salesforce Inspector first, especially for mass manipulation. But EasyCrud is awesome. You can go to extension. So it adds 2 tabs at the bottom here for object permissions and field permissions, and you can click on that. Oh, it only works. Also, side note, it only works when you're first on the details tab. So yeah, it'll pop up here, and then you click on that, and then it'll show you all your fields, and then it'll load up the permission sets and profiles that have access to it, and also permission set groups if it's through somewhere like that. So if you want to go like object permissions, you can see that these are all that have it, and then you can filter it by, I just want to see who has view all on opportunity, and then it'll be basically give you this whole list of accounts, and then like even permission set groups as well.
What was that one called again?
EasyCrud, And then you can also inline edit. So if you wanted to get rid of create for this profile, you can do that straight from here, and then click save. So yeah, easy CRUD, super helpful. The only other gotcha you have with it is that you yourself have to have access to the field to be able to see it in there. So if you don't have access to a field, it just won't appear here at all. So, and then sometimes does some weird reloading things, but nothing too bad. So yeah, that's great. Another one I like is change.helper. Helper. So sometimes if you're unfortunate enough to not have a full DevOps tool like Capado or Capado Essentials, I found that change.helper is really great. It really bridges that gap of making it easy to work with. So you can quickly make a new change set, and then I'll just make one on the fly here. Oops. Oh, my keyboard is not working. There it goes. And then it kind of gives you a couple options. So one, it's a metadata helper, so you can download the XML of whatever is in your change set. So I find that helpful when I just need a quick package, or if I need to inspect something in VS Code. That's a quick way to create a package to retrieve the metadata that you need. And then once you're inside the change set helper, you can, let's say you want to do a custom field. This is typically what it looks like. It'll just be the name of the field and the type, so like the object it's on. But with change.helper, it takes a little loading, especially if there's a lot of fields, and then I'll kind of go blank for a second while it finishes up. But it changes that layout to where you can kind of see it here. It allows you to select that, and then gives you the type, and then gives you when was the last modified, and who was modified by. Sometimes it does take a second to load. And then additionally, you can also, these columns will be filterable. So you can filter specifically for the object or who last modified it and stuff like that. And it is not working right now, but usually that's how it works. So if you're unfortunate enough to have to work with change sets, that's a great option to help make it not so terrible. And then I won't get into this one as much, but I found that Salesforce Smart Log is really cool. It allows you to, if you're looking at your debug logs, it's an extension that pulls it up, and then you can quickly search for it without having to open each one. So great way to quickly find something that whatever it is that you're looking for in a debug log, because those can be really messy to go down with. And another one that I use sometimes is DWOW for Salesforce. This one allows you to compare profiles and objects they have access to. And what I also like about this, it also will give you the field level security for those profiles as well. So can definitely have some use cases. I typically use Salesforce Inspector for these things, but gives you a nice quick comparison on the fly. And then, yeah, that's about it. That's it for my Chrome extensions. And then other resources that I love is the Salesforce Architected website, Salesforce Architects website. They have the well-architected framework, which is great to read through for kind of best practices and how you should be thinking about your builds for Salesforce. And then also, I think especially helpful is their decision guides, especially around building forms and record trigger automation. It kind of gives you a good overview of what tools available are best for what. So obviously people know that for you shouldn't do same record field updates on an after save. and it will clearly say that here as well. And it kind of gives you like, it's not ideal here, but it's available, or if it's just not available at all, it'll show that. So yeah, really cool stuff there. Highly recommend reading through all that. And then I have one more, which is a paid app, and I haven't directly used this one, but I learned about them at Trailhead DX, or Trailblazer DX, I should say. And this is a paid add-on, but it's pretty affordable. It's called Avani Components, and these are all pre-built Salesforce flow components that you can use and create like really dynamic and responsive screen flows. So like in their use case, they have this basically app page called account management, and everything you're seeing down here is just a screen flow. But it basically acts as almost like a dashboard. So you like see your accounts, click through them, and then on the right side have it dynamically change. So you can see like details of that company, where their location is on a map, and then the related records, and then have cool things with like probability percentages and stuff like that. So
Nick, you're still on the DWOW page, right?
Oh, am I?
Okay, I was just like, wait a minute. What you're talking, that's what I see right now.
Oh, is that what everyone else sees? Yeah, I'm not sure.
Oh, that's interesting. I wonder how that happened. Okay.
Weird. Yeah. Am I? Yeah.
I'm
It
gonna
looks
just
like
refresh my page and see if I'm good. If I get kicked out, I don't know what happened.
But yeah, if you can see my screen, it's really cool stuff you can do with this. So definitely check that out. You can build really cool apps with screen flows without needing developers to build custom LWCs essentially. So cool stuff there.
I got one more if nobody else has something to share. This is called, I think, Better Salesforce Formula. And it isn't like anything spectacular, but if you have a really complex formula and you're like really struggling to understand what parentheses you're missing, or something like that, this extension kind of puts a additional tab for you here, and it like color codes the parentheses so you can see where they actually match up in your formula. It's pretty simple extension, but if you're working with really complex formulas or you're like new to writing formulas, it like really helps break it down in a nice digestible way, just so you can, go very rudimentary and match pink to pink and blue to blue and realize like, oh, I've been missing this one the whole time. So I've used that a few times, and they have like an AI thing now too. I haven't really used any of that, to be honest, but it saved me a couple times after, stressfully trying to read a formula for like 20 minutes. So that's a basic one. And then the organizer for Salesforce I mentioned earlier, I don't actually have anything to log into right now, but you basically put your info into one of these, and then you click it and it logs you in. I don't have the password updated right now, so it didn't log me in, but it will essentially just open the tab and do it right away. So when consulting or working with a bunch of sandboxes, it's nice to like really quickly access a bunch of those.
Hey, Bobby, on the formula, that AI thing that you just mentioned, is that part of that plugin?
And I hadn't done anything with it. It's like a formula agent, and they have like a demo and everything. But honestly, have not used any of it. But if you do, let me know if it's cool or not.
I used to have that extension, but I never really used it, and I eventually got rid of it because it felt like it would bog it down. But that said, I do use like I think it's like text Notepad plus or something like that, and gives you that. So I just kind of copy and paste my formulas there. And then the other one, I do use ChatGPT as well to help with some more complex formulas that like I know what I want in my head, but like I can, instead of trying to spend like 10-15 minutes trying to figure out how to write it exactly, I just tell ChatGPT what I want, and then that usually gives me a head start on.
Yeah,
figuring it out.
100%. I think,
Yeah.
and sometimes if you're struggling, plugging it into GPT to see if it recognizes, what the error is or something like that too.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't really use this extension all too much right now either, but definitely when I first got started, it was like just very helpful to have the visual breakdown. So for
Yeah.
anybody that struggles with formulas or is new, it's nice to kind of break it down like that.
Very nice. Can you hear me again? Sorry.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, great. Sorry. Would you mind throwing a couple links in the chat just so I can grab those? Put those in the slides, and then yeah, thank you for sharing. I dropped off because my computer, I don't know what the hell happened, but it went crazy. So sorry about that. If I did miss a few, but if we get the slides or the links, I'll definitely get them into the slides. And hopefully this recording will have been recorded as well. So all of it will be there, but we'll find out soon enough. But yeah, last call for tools and tricks and tips. And I do too well architected, love it, big fan, definitely a great resource. Also, but a great resource and a lot to read there. So nice, print it out, curl up next to your fireplace, and go through and with your highlighter and stuff like that. So
Yeah, and obviously it's geared towards architects, but I find there's a lot of good information in there for admins.
Definitely.
So much.
It definitely translates for sure.
Yeah.
I was looking to see if I can get Todd. I think his name's Todd. He's part of the decision guide team. He would come share with us kind of how to better utilize those tools for admins versus architects, and so we're in conversations, but we'll see how that works out. But yeah. All right. Well, I'll get last call for anybody else, and then I guess we'll wrap it up here. Top of the hour, getting close. So 1, 2, 3, ABC. All right. Well, we want to thank everybody for attending, number one, number two, and more importantly for sharing, because this is a lot of great stuff, and I'm definitely got to go ahead and put some bookmarks in and get started on these, because I know there's a lot here to make my life a lot easier. So
yeah,
thank you all for sharing. Yeah,
I'm shocked that you haven't used a Salesforce inspector yet.
I haven't needed them, so
I would literally die without it. So
I keep telling him about it every day. So
I only have one org, guys. I don't know what's the problem here.
you don't need one. If I had one org, I'd still be using it every day. That's how
I'm
I
gonna
get my data and everything.
I'm gonna add that to there for sure. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you. And hopefully you can make it next week in person. Have some pizza, have a sandwich, have some soda, have some beer, and we'd love to see you, of course. And yeah. So thank you, Allison. Parting words.
no, I mean, just thanks for coming, and thanks for those who shared, and I learned a lot myself this session. So yeah, great. And if you're able to come to next week in person, would love to catch up in person.
Yeah, when the chat just reminded me, I didn't bring it up, but VS Code is also one of my favorite admin tools. Just be able to quickly find stuff. So it can be intimidating at first, but once you get used to it, it's a game changer as well.
Oh yeah, love VS Code.
All right. Well, I'm gonna stop the recording now and say thank you all again, and we'll see you all next time.